morning. Welcome to Northwest Air Guns. I'm John, and it's 2018. Happy New Year. I hope your holidays went well. It's been a couple of weeks since we put out a video, and the reason is that I got ill after Christmas, and I've been sick, and now it's here the second week in January, finally feeling up to doing some activities, some videos, and working out here in the shop. This video is kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of stuff. I call it stuff because we have several topics that we're going to talk about. One is the contest, the Streak from Hell contest. We're going to talk about that, and I had a lot of fun with that contest, by the way. We're going to talk about a couple of emails. We'll answer a few questions that come in through email. We're going to take a tour of some of the tools. And these are special tools that I rarely use or actually had to make when working on the Streak from Hell. And so I want to kind of show what some of the unique problems were and how we solved them. I have a shop apron that will probably knock your socks off. I mean, I know I'm the only one maybe that has a thing for shop aprons, but it's worth a look just to see what what's out there in the world and the type of quality that you can get. A viewer had emailed me and said, you never did polish an exhaust valve, so we'll show you how we do that. There might be a couple of other things, but I think that covers most of it, so let's get started. Okay, well, the first thing, of course, we had our contest, this Streak from Hell giveaway. We're not calling it the Streak from Hell anymore, it's just a streak. And us actually had been surprised at the number of entries. We got quite a few, and I never know, we had like 250 views, 300 views, something like that on that video where we were giving it away. Well, I don't know if that's 250 different people watch it, or one guy watches it 250 times. So we had a great response. We had actually some big names. I was surprised at some of the people who entered that contest. And we had an entry from Bigfoot, which I thought was great. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, in our language, Tintach Kuhoyan, which means old man in the woods. And I kind of was pulling for Bigfoot because, then we'd know where his address was. But he didn't win. The winner, actually, with a selection of 731, was Rod W. I'm not going to say his last name. He lives just up the road here from me in Manteca. So, I could have driven it down there, but I did ship it, and it's on its way. And Rod, I hope you enjoy it. And like I say, give me some feedback from time to time on how the gun's doing. The other thing I want to talk about briefly here is SHOT Show. It's coming up in about a week, so we don't have a lot of time. I'm going to try and get this video out as quick as I can. And if you have anything in particular at the SHOT Show that you're interested in, let me know, and we'll try and get by to take a look at it. Alright, well, the first thing we're going to talk about here in our airgun stuff is your balls, or lack of balls, and springs as well, or lack of springs. And these are the ones that go into the bolt on the Benjamin. And all these really do is kind of hold the bolt from jiggling around too much, put a little bit of tension on it. But I get emails from viewers almost every day saying where, I don't have any balls, where can I get the ball, or the spring, or both. And so I thought we'd take a minute here and see if we can give you some suggestions. One is, of course, if you're ordering a kit from a supplier, do it by phone maybe. And as you're doing it, if you don't have the ball or the spring, say, I need the ball and I need the spring to go in the bolt. And they probably have them, and that would, I would think, be the most economical way to do it, because you don't have to pay $10 shipping for a $1 ball. That's always irritating. So try and include it with your kit if you can. Another option, if you have remote control or RC hobby shops locally where you live, why a lot of times they carry little bitty balls like that. And this is, by the way, is a 3/32 inch ball. Is the one that fits the Benjamin. Sheridan's, of course, have the spring, but not the ball in their bolt. So that's a 3/32 inch ball. So RC hobby shops also have a lot of springs, and so this spring here, let's see what we got. You can always go longer and cut it down, but you can't go shorter and make it longer. So the outside dimension on this spring, by the way, is let's see here, about well, a little less than 100 thousandths. I'd say 90 thousandths, something like that would be about right. And it's made to fit a 3/32 inch ball, so they may have set it up so that springs and balls go together. And I actually have a bunch of balls from Brownells that I ordered quite a while back. Let's see, what do we have? 3/32 inch detent balls here, which are the ones that we use in the Benjamin bolt. And there's the numbers on. But they don't sell them in the 100 pack anymore. They sell them in the 20 pack. And it's about 16, 17 bucks, I think, for 20 of them, plus shipping. So you're going to have to decide if that's worth it for you. You know, originally I thought 20, well, heck, why would anybody want 20? And then I sit down and work on a gun and I lose a half a dozen of these. I go, okay, yeah, that's why. A little bit cheaper option here from MSC Industrial Supply. These are 3/32 inch chrome balls. You get them in a package of 100 pack. And so for a guy who needs one, this is kind of overkill, but my guess is you'll need 2 or 3 or 4. But you could get together with 100 of your friends and split the cost on this, or just have some to spare in the future. Maybe they sell them in smaller packages, I don't know, but this is what you get, 100 of these, and I think these are under $5. Of course, there is shipping, and if you wanted the stainless steel, they would be, maybe double that. Now the spring, on the other hand, is it's a little harder to find. I happen to have an inventory of springs that I got when I bought out some parts years ago. But about the closest I've been able to find are these springs from Brownells. And how many did I get in here? This is a kit with 20 of them. 20 of these springs. It says a 3/32 inch detent ball spring. And there's the number. And they're pretty close. I mean, they're maybe not exact. Our spring looks, well, let's take a look here. Our spring was what, 90 thousandths, and these springs are 70 thousandths, but they're pretty darn close. And out of this one spring, I think these are an inch long, you can probably get 3 or 4 of these. So these would work. Again, you have to buy 20 of them, and these are, I think, 20 bucks for 20 of them. But, there's a lifetime supply of springs for you, too. Okay, when we were working on the streak, we had a couple of issues we ran into, and we had to do some kind of special treatment to it. We had to make a couple of special tools, and so I'm going to run through those right now. The first one is pretty straightforward. I mean, if you recall, we had here at the front of the compression chamber, there was a lot of gouges and imperfections in here. And I wanted to try and clean that up. So that's kind of a long ways to reach. And if you've seen our video on polishing, you know that a lot of times we use 3M pads and we wrap it around a dowel and get down there. Well, this is not nearly enough to take out gouges. This is strictly for polishing. So I made this, and all this is a 3/4 inch stock. Put some heavy grit, I think 120, might even been 80 grit on the front of it here. This is flat, perpendicular. Threaded it for some all thread, and then just put something out here on the end to kind of act as a handle. And the way it worked, you stick it down in there and then you polish, you rotate it little by little, and you could do this using successive grits to get it really fine polish on it. I just tried to polish it out. And so that's one kind of an oddball tool. I've never had to polish in here before, and so this is how we went about it. Alright, the other thing, if you recall, there's gouges not only on the front end of this, but on the back end. This is the inlet valve, and there was a bunch of scratches or gouges, or I'm not sure what they were on this end, so we had to clean those up, because otherwise the inlet valve is not going to seat properly and it's not going to hold air here at this end of the compression chamber. And so we made a tool here. This is just cold rolled steel turned down to different diameters to fit sort of like a pilot in here, and this is a 3/8 inch end mill from a milling machine. It's 4 flute. And to clean up those gouges, we inserted it something like that, and it's actually piloted in the sense that this diameter fits the tube pretty tightly there. This diameter fits tightly here, and so as you get in there, it's very unlikely that it's going to get off, and it's not going to be a cattywonker on you. It's going to cut that nice and flat, and then very gently rotated the cutters to remove the gouges, which we did get out. And so it worked. The problem with this is it's kind of an emergency tool, in the sense that this has 4 flutes, and really this cutter is designed to spin somewhere, well, 3/8 of an inch, somewhere 800 to 1200 RPM, and if you turn it by hand, it's kind of a brute force, or a very crude instrument, and with the 4 flutes it tends to grab. So I think what I'll do ultimately is make a different tool like this, and we'll have it with very shallow cutters, and or flutes rather, and then probably have 8, 10, as many as I can fit into 3/8 of an inch would be good, just so in case we run into that situation again, we'll have a cutter that will be more suitable for hand turning and hand cutting of the surface there. Well, if you recall, we also had a lot of gouges here on this lip in the streak, and this is where the exhaust valve sits, and then there's a seal that sits on that seat, between that seat and the bottom of the exhaust valve. So that's got to be a pretty nice, pretty clean, gouge-free surface. And so how do you get that to be gouge-free? And I took a end mill, actually 5/8 inch end mill, and put it in there and very lightly turned it, similar to what we did with our 3/8 inch cutter on the inlet valve. And so we cleaned it up a little bit like that, and then came back through with another polishing tool. This one well, this is getting hung up here on the stock lug here, stock stud, but it worked on the Sheridan. And all this is a 3/4 inch stock here, and then neck down to 5/8 inch here, and we put again sandpaper on the end, and this is strictly to polish that surface. So we took out the gouges and then went back in and polished it with this tool here. Well, our last tool is not really something that was unique to the streak. Basically it's a tap, and this is one I made. It's designed to fit the threads here, and really as you put your exhaust valve in and then thread the retaining nut on there, well, there's a lead seal in between. At least originally there was a lead seal. And what happens when you tighten that nut up is it tends to squeeze that lead out into these threads here. And so sometimes they have stuff in them that you need to get out, or that would be better to get out. And you can do that, just by running this nut in and out will help do it, help clean it out. But some of us have these specialty taps, and this is piloted with a 1/2 inch here and 3/4 inch here. It's 32 threads per inch. Some people say it's 21/32. I haven't been able to figure out the math to confirm that, but maybe it is. I just went with the outside diameter, and I measured a bunch of these nuts, and they averaged around 665 thousandths. So I went with a major diameter here of 665 thousandths, and then cut the thread, hardened it, and then tempered it. And basically all this does is goes in there, and well, you would back it up until you hear the click. There it is. And then you can thread this in, and basically it's a tap that cleans up those threads, takes any debris out, and prepares it for the nut that's going to go in later. So that's the other specialty tool, I guess, that we use. It wasn't unique to the streak, but it's something I use pretty much to clean up threads on every repair I do. And the thing about this is, I guess related to this, I got an email from a guy. He says, I got a box of parts. I watched your video. I took apart my 342 and I can't get it back together, and I want to send it in. Well, I suggested he send it into a Macklin Air Gun shop. The guys in Southern California just drive the box over, drop it off. So I think he did that, but the thing is that you can pretty much mess up anything on this, except for a couple of things. One is this seat here. If you actually remove material, at some point there's nothing that can be done to repair that. So be very gentle here. Polishing is fine. If you have to remove material using something like that, just be very careful with it and take off as little as possible and go slow, because we can't put that material back. The other is the threads here, and you can cross thread this, and somebody who has one of these taps can go back in and fix it. But there has to be some material here in order to fix. And so if you cross thread it, take it out, cross thread it again, take it out, cross it. Well, at some point there's nothing left to hold that valve retaining nut in after we're done. So I'd say those are the two areas to be gentle with, here and here, and make sure you're not taking material out, that you're just, even like I say, if you cross thread this, you'll be okay, because that can be corrected. We can't put more material back though, so be careful on that. And that's our special tools. Well, all right, I know that this is the part that everybody was waiting for, the dream apron. And this is something I gotta say, this doesn't belong to me. This is actually something that Bob Corvez, one of my machining buds, let me borrow just for this. And you know, we did a segment not too long ago on machinist aprons, but the difference there was those were limited to aprons that cost less than 20 bucks, I think it was, something like that. Well, this is not one of those. This is from the Tiffany's of machining aprons, and actually just putting it on, I feel like, you know, Johnny Blacksmith or something. It's pretty nice. It's all got snaps. It's got a cross piece here. This snaps. These are snaps, and so they're adjustable with these snaps. You can put it up higher or lower, or whatever you want. It's made out of a heavy, heavy denim. This is almost like the stuff that they used to make tents out of, the canvas tents. It's like really nice. It's got leather sewed in around the different pockets. This thing, of course, comes up in case you want to do the bend over thing. Just a really super nice apron. And Bob got this. I don't think he's ever worn it either, but I think he won it at a contest at the Bar Z Summer Bash in Southern California. These retail for somewhere close to $200. So I feel, you know, kind of like I'm trying on wedding dresses here or something. This is really nice. It even comes with this little thingy here, and so you can stick your glasses in there, and you know you won't lose them. This is more like, I think, a welder's or somebody who's constantly dealing with heavy stuff and they're packing it around. It's just so heavy duty and well built that you know, it's too much for a little machinist like myself. Although I'd love to have it. It comes down to the knees, which is good protection for you know, basically covers you up. I can see where if you were sparking something, they'd bounce off this easy. In terms of pockets, it's got these three here up at the top, two nice big pockets here. And these, interestingly enough, have leather as they go in. So as you put your hand in, as you put stuff in and out, you don't wear out the apron, you know, it wears against the leather. Let's see who made this thing. Well, you know, I don't even see a maker's name on this, so I don't know who made it, and I don't know where you'd get one. I do know Tom Lipton at Ox Tool, he's got a lot of machining YouTube videos, but he's got one like this, and I think he talked about it in one of his videos, but I'll see if I can't get the information on this as far as who made it and how a person can get one, but I just feel very pleased to have been able to try this on, and before I get tempted to get it dirty, I'm going to take it back over to Bob Corvus and give it back to him. Oh, here it is. Very nice. This is, see this or not, but it's made by Mitch Rosen. And we keep talking about polishing the exhaust valve, and what we're talking about is this part right here, this seat there. If you can, I can get that in focus for the camera, and that's where the valve stem comes through and sits like so. So that has to be clean, flat, no gouges, and perpendicular to the valve stem. That's what we're trying to do. So I'll show you how I do it. So what I'll do is I'll just get my valve tool and screw the valve into the end. open up the oven, something like that. This actually can just be hand tied, it doesn't have to be super tight. And all we're going to do is drop this down and touch it off on this 3M pad, and that'll polish the end. Let's take a look at that. Okay, let's take this back over to the bench and take a quick look at it. Well, here we are. We actually polished it up pretty good. Take a quick look at it. Pull it out of the tool. We actually polished the top of this just a little bit. It usually doesn't need it too much, but if you can see that, it's pretty clean here now. The bottom we polished a little bit here, a little bit here, and I may go back and clean this surface up just a little bit, although it didn't do anything, so maybe I won't. But we did get this surface here where the inside seal goes. That's pretty clean. And if you notice the seat here where the intake or the exhaust valve goes, sits in there something like that, and it's going to pop on and off and on and off. Well, that looks pretty darn good as far as polished. I think you can see that. So anyway, that's how I polish them. There's probably hundreds of ways to do it, but that's one of them. Sometimes these get a little tight in here, but you can always just stick something in here and screwdriver. You're not going to hurt it as long as you don't get too carried away. You can break it free and then take it off. So that's that.